Hello, this is Jamie with your small business news for May 21st, 2021. Today we're going to be discussing small businesses as we're looking to recover from the pandemic and what that may look like based on new government policy, as well as the debt that was racked up because of the pandemic. And then we're also going to take it a little step further and take a look at some of the government policy as it relates to small businesses in a very specific area, agriculture. So we're going to do that today as well. But as always, before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment, and also share with other people who you think may be interested in this type of content. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see here, I have Inc.com up, and the first title here is As the Pandemic Recedes, Small Businesses Face a New Plague, Debt Collectors. Pretty good article. I'd recommend. I'll leave it in the description as well. But as you can, basically the title pretty much says it all. During the pandemic, as we are all aware, a lot of debt forgiveness was taken, especially when it comes to anything the government had oversight over, right? So for example, if you had student loans that were government backed or government supported, essentially the interest rate, or not essentially, but the interest rate was paused. So if you wanted to pay it off, you can, but it won't be growing in interest because of that. When it comes to debt, once again, whether it be home debt or business debt, it was frozen essentially. So the debt was still there, but just nothing was accumulating, and in a lot of cases, you didn't have to pay it off. Basically, this is kind of foreshadowing that the bill is coming due for a lot of businesses. And what we're seeing is, and I've spoken about this numerous times, again, definitely check out a couple of the videos, but what we're seeing is that as businesses are reopening, consumers aren't coming to these businesses like they were before the pandemic. And if they are, they're not spending as much. So because of that, you have people with outstanding debt before the pandemic, and now that they may have taken out even more loans, and now they're pretty much a house of cards that may be looking to fall over pretty soon. So as we move kind of down here, as you can see the warning signs here, here we have right here the number of these filings, and we're talking about subchapter bankruptcy filings. The number of these filings, well, I'll go ahead and I'll just read this whole paragraph. Early signs are pointing toward the surge. Namely, the number of Subchapter 5 bankruptcy filings is rising. Subchapter is so named for the section of the U.S. Bankruptcy Code in which it inhabits, marks a serendipitous bankruptcy reform for small businesses that became law in February 2020. Just ahead of the pandemic. Authorized by the Small Business Reorganization Act of 2019, Subchapter 5 makes reorganization or liquidating less costly and less time intensive for small businesses, right? So the number of these filings increased by 55% in February, 59% in March, and 112% in April 2021 over the same months in 2020. Again, we're just seeing this continue and continue. I've said time and time again that we're based off of small businesses, believe that we may see some type of return to normalcy at the end of the summer. So we're talking August, late July, August timeframe. So in between there, we could see a lot of bankruptcies coming up, and that's just not good. All told, the SBA has doled out more than $1 trillion in aid across its various programs. So any program, they're saying basically any program that the SBA can, oversee, they're going to basically, they may just do a full forgiveness. Now that doesn't mean that if you have that, expect a full forgiveness. This is just kind of what people are thinking may happen. All right, this is not a guarantee. However, most of the loans that was given out by the SBA, they didn't oversee, so most of those loans will be having to be paid back. And as you know, if businesses can't afford to pay them back, we may be looking at a huge issue with a lot of small businesses, and that's really tough because a lot of small businesses already went out of business during the pandemic, and now the ones that did survive, we may be looking at a significant percent that may still fail. We are in this may be the after effects of the pandemic. We'll see what happens here, but we may be coming up on the next issue that's facing this country, which is how do we protect small businesses. And this segues into the next piece, which is Small Business Advocacy Group launches survival campaign against Biden's policies, right? So essentially the big piece here is the tax hikes, right? Now, as you are aware, and I've covered this before, the Biden administration wants to increase taxes on the richest part of Americans, but it also wants to increase the corporate tax code from 21% to 28%. So the big fight here is that they shouldn't do this because it's poor timing. As you can see here, with a record high 44% of small businesses unable to fill job openings, it is unbelievable that Washington's answer is to increase their taxes and create more regulations. So basically, and again, I've talked about this time and time again, this will be the right's ploy, and again, the left will have their own challenges to make with the Biden administration, but the right, this is going to be the big piece here, corporate tax rates, and how this is just poor timing. And based off of what we're seeing with the bankruptcies, there may be some truth to that, right? So they also kind of berate things such as like capital gains for people earning over $1 million, as well as individual income tax rates of 39% for the people at the top, which there. But the big piece that I do think that there may be some issues with is that tax increase from 21% to 28%. They also give some points here, which you can take it or leave it. Where is it? 1 in 4 small business owners said their tax savings as a result of the 2017 policy, they raised employee compensation, and 16% said it motivated them to hire more employees. So we did see, kind of shot me all the way back up here. So we did see some positives with the 2017 tax policy. Although, and again, this needs to be said. The majority, sorry about that. This needs to be said, but the majority of the benefits, by and far, was basically you had larger companies becoming even larger, the people in the top 0.1% just seeing tons and tons of money. I mean, there is no argument to be made for that. So, but we did see some positives for small businesses as well. Again, 1 in 4, that's 25%, increasing compensation. That's always good, and the 16% hired more. So there were benefits there, but what we're seeing right now again is that fight from against that new tax hike because it may cause some issues, especially with the timing. But again, the tax hike probably won't happen until, to be fair, the tax hike most likely won't happen until late this year, early next year, and that's being optimistic. So the fight will continue, and we'll see kind of how that goes. The last piece that I want to talk about is the Department of Agriculture, which announced a $2.3 million investment as part of the USDA Small Business Innovation Research Program. Always good to see, obviously, businesses receiving investments. I definitely just wanted to kind of let you know that this is happening. Not sure how many agriculture-based organizations watch this podcast, but even still, definitely want to get that information out there. If this does affect you, definitely check it out. The next phase 1 request for small business innovation research applications is scheduled to open in July 2021. So make sure that your business is ready, and you could win some funding there. So definitely check it out. All right. With all that being said, as always, thank you so much for your time. Make sure you subscribe to the video, leave a like and comment, and share with other people you think may be interested in this content. With that being said, thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.